Welcome, Guardians of the North, Lions of Casterly Rock, and Walkers of the Wall. Get ready to test your memory, your cunning, and your love for the Six Kingdoms. Well, 7. Because we're kicking off an epic 30-minute trivia round dedicated to the most legendary characters of Game of Thrones. Do you know who poisoned Joffrey? Can you remember the vow Brienne of Tarth made? Or in which city Arya became no one? Put your knowledge to the test, challenge your friends, and show the world that you know how to play the Game of Thrones. Without losing your head, hit play, subscribe, and let the battle of minds begin. How well do you know Cersei Lannister? She plays the game like no other. Power, wine, and vengeance. Cersei's got it all. Who is Cersei Lannister's father? A. Tywin Lannister. What is the name of Cersei's twin brother? A. Jaime Lannister. Which house is Cersei a member of? B. Lannister. Who is Cersei's first husband? A. Rhaegar Targaryen. What are the names of Cersei's children? A. Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen. Who is Cersei's sworn protector, the leader of the Kingsguard? B. Gregor Clegane. Which famous phrase is associated with Cersei Lannister? B. A Lannister always pays his debts. Which title does Cersei hold after the death of her husband, Robert Baratheon? A. Queen Regent. Who is Cersei's childhood friend that becomes her loyal servant? B. Sansa Stark. What does Cersei use to eliminate her enemies in King's Landing? B. Wildfire. How well do you know Jorah Mormont, the loyal knight with a tragic heart? Let's see if you remember the man who stayed by Daenerys' side through fire and exile. What is the relationship between Jorah Mormont and Daenerys Targaryen? C. Protector and Queen. Which house does Jorah Mormont belong to? C. Mormont. What was Jorah Mormont's profession before meeting Daenerys? B. Spy. Who did Jorah Mormont originally spy on for? A. Cersei Lannister. Where is Jorah Mormont originally from? C. Bear Island. What weapon does Jorah Mormont primarily use in battles? A. Sword. Who is Jorah Mormont's father? A. Jorah Mormont. What disease does Jorah Mormont contract during the series? A. Grayscale. Which event led to Jorah Mormont being exiled from Westeros? C. Selling slaves. How does Jorah Mormont meet Daenerys Targaryen? C. As a spy. How much do you know Jon Snow? He's a brooding bastard, a reluctant leader, and a true hero of ice and fire. Prove you're worthy of Longclaw. What is Jon Snow's real name as revealed in the series? A. Aegon Targaryen. Who is Jon Snow's father by blood? A. Rhaegar Targaryen. What is the name of Jon Snow's direwolf? A. Ghost. Where was Jon Snow born? A. The Tower of Joy. Who raises Jon Snow as his own child? A. Eddard Stark. What is Jon Snow's famous quote? C. You know nothing. What is Jon Snow's title at the Night's Watch? A. Lord Commander. What is Jon Snow's role in the Battle of the Bastards? A. Commander of the army. Who does Jon Snow consider his sisters? A. Sansa and Arya Stark. What does Jon Snow know? A. Nothing. Do you really know Jaime Lannister? He's a knight, a lover, a Lannister, and maybe not quite the villain we thought. Time to draw your sword, or at least your memory. What is Jaime Lannister's nickname? A. The Kingslayer. Who is Jaime Lannister's sister? B. Cersei Lannister. Which hand of Jaime Lannister gets cut off? A. Right hand. Who is Jaime Lannister's eldest son? A. Joffrey Baratheon. Where is Jaime Lannister held captive for a period of time? C. Harrenhal. Who is the father of Jaime Lannister's children? B. Jaime Lannister. What is Jaime Lannister's relationship to Tyrion Lannister? A. Brother. What was Jaime Lannister's rank in the King's Guard? A. Lord Commander. Who squired for Jaime Lannister when he was younger? C. Brienne of Tarth. In which house was Jaime Lannister born? A. Lannister. How well do you know Arya Stark? She has a list, a sword, and zero chill. Test your knowledge of one of Westeros' baddest heroes. What is Arya Stark's preferred weapon? C. Dagger. Which family does Arya Stark belong to? B. Stark. Where did Arya train to become a faceless man? C. Bravos. Who is Arya Stark's direwolf? B. Nymeria. What is Arya Stark's kill list? C. All choices are correct. Who taught Arya Stark how to use a sword? B. Syrio Forel. What is the name Arya uses while traveling in Bravos? B. No one. Which Stark family member does Arya have the closest bond with? C. Jon Snow. In what season does Arya finally get revenge on Walder Frey? B. Season 6. What is the name of Arya Stark's direwolf? A. Nymeria. Think you know Tyrion Lannister? He drinks and he knows things. But how much do you know about the sharpest tongue in Westeros? What is Tyrion Lannister's nickname? A. The Imp. Who is Tyrion Lannister's father? A. Tywin Lannister. Where was Tyrion Lannister born? A. Casterly Rock. Who is Tyrion Lannister's sister? A. Cersei Lannister. What is the name of Tyrion Lannister's first wife? C. Tysha. Which house does Tyrion Lannister belong to? A. Lannister. What is Tyrion Lannister's weapon of choice? B. A crossbow. Who does Tyrion Lannister serve as Hand of the King Queen? B. Daenerys Targaryen. What is the name of the brothel Tyrion Lannister frequents in King's Landing? C. The Peach. What is the title of Tyrion Lannister's autobiography in the books? A. A Lion's Tale. How much do you know about King Robert Baratheon, the hammer-wielding rebel turned king? Test your knowledge of Westeros' loudest ruler. What is Robert Baratheon's nickname? A. The usurper. Who was Robert Baratheon's betrothed before she was betrothed to Rhaegar Targaryen? A. Cersei Lannister. Which house does Robert Baratheon belong to? C. Baratheon. What is the ancestral seat of House Baratheon? C. Storm's End. Who was Robert Baratheon's squire in his youth? B. Ned Stark. Who was Robert Baratheon's firstborn son? A. Joffrey Baratheon. How did Robert Baratheon die? C. Hunting accident. Who became king after Robert Baratheon's death? C. Joffrey Baratheon. Who was Robert Baratheon's best friend? A. Ned Stark. Who was Robert Baratheon's wife? B. Cersei Lannister. Are you as smart as Samwell? Test your knowledge of the most unlikely hero in Westeros. What is Samwell Tarly's main weapon of choice? C. Dragonglass dagger. Where is Samwell Tarly originally from? C. Horn Hill. Who is Samwell Tarly's closest friend in the Night's Watch? A. Jon Snow. What is the name of Samwell Tarly's son? B. Little Sam. Which house does Samwell Tarly belong to? C. Tarly. Who is Samwell Tarly's father? C. Randyll Tarly. What is Samwell Tarly's biggest fear? C. Son of Randyll. Where did Samwell Tarly find the dragonglass dagger he uses? B. Dragonstone. What is Samwell Tarly's occupation in the Night's Watch? A. Steward. Who convinces Samwell Tarly to join the Night's Watch? A. Jon Snow. Do you have the honor of Brienne? She swore oaths, saved lives, and fought for justice. See if you can live up to Sir Brienne's name. What is the title Brienne of Tarth holds? B. Knight. Who is Brienne's squire? A. Podrick Payne. What is the nickname given to Brienne by men? C. Brienne the Beauty. Which house does Brienne of Tarth serve? A. House Stark. Who is Brienne's loyal companion in her journey? A. Jaime Lannister. What is the ancestral home of House Tarth? C. Avonfall Hall. What weapon is Brienne proficient with? C. Sword. Who knighted Brienne of Tarth? B. Sir Jaime Lannister. Who does Brienne of Tarth swear to protect? A. Sansa Stark. What is Brienne's primary motivation throughout the series? B. Honor. Are you queen material like Margaery? She wasn't just a pretty face. Margaery played the Game of Thrones with grace and cunning. Test your knowledge of the Tyrell Queen. What was Margaery Tyrell's relationship to the Tyrell family? B. Cousin. Who was Margaery Tyrell's first husband? B. Renly Baratheon. Which house did Margaery Tyrell marry into? B. Baratheon. Who played the role of Margaery Tyrell in the Game of Thrones TV series? C. Natalie Dormer. What title did Margaery Tyrell hold in King's Landing? A. Queen. What happened to Marguerite Tyrell in the wildfire explosion at the Great Sept of Baelor? B. She died. Who was Marguerite Tyrell's grandmother? A. Olenna Tyrell. What was Marguerite Tyrell's fate in the final season of Game of Thrones? C. She was arrested. Which character did Marguerite Tyrell manipulate in order to advance her own agenda? A. Joffrey Baratheon. Marguerite Tyrell was known for her kindness and charitable work with which group of people in King's Landing? A. Children. Can you master the Lady of Winterfell? Catelyn Stark was never just a mother. She was a warrior in her own right. Think you remember her journey through betrayal, war, and heartbreak? Let's see if you're as wise as she was. What is Catelyn Stark's maiden name? A. Tully. Who is Catelyn Stark's husband? A. Ned Stark. How many children does Catelyn Stark have? C. 5. Which of the following is not one of Catelyn Stark's children? A. Jon Snow. Where is Catelyn Stark from? C. The Riverlands. Who is Catelyn Stark's father? A. Hoster Tully. What happens to Catelyn Stark at the infamous Red Wedding? B. She is killed. Which house does Catelyn Stark belong to before her marriage? A. House Tully. What is the name of Catelyn Stark's sister? C. Lysa. Who is responsible for betraying Catelyn Stark to the Lannisters? A. Littlefinger. Can you outsmart the Queen in the North? From court politics in King's Landing to ruling the North with ice-cold strategy, Sansa's journey is epic. Do you know her story well enough? Let's find out. What is Sansa Stark's relationship to Ned Stark? Our daughter. How many times was Sansa Stark married? B. 2. Which noble house does Sansa Stark belong to? A. Stark. Who was Sansa Stark's first betrothed? A. Joffrey Baratheon. Where did Sansa Stark seek refuge after fleeing King's Landing? B. Vale. Who was the person Sansa Stark was forced to marry in King's Landing? A. Tyrion Lannister. Who helped Sansa Stark escape Winterfell? A. Theon Greyjoy. Where was Sansa Stark when she declared herself Sansa of House Stark? A. Winterfell. Which character was Sansa Stark briefly engaged to in an attempt to secure the North? B. Robin Arryn. Who crowned Sansa Stark as Queen in the North? C. Bran Stark. Think you can outsmart Tywin Lannister? Gold, power, legacy. The Lannister name commands it all. But how much do you really know about the man behind the lion? Prove it, or prepare to be dismissed. What is Tywin Lannister's title in Game of Thrones? A. Lord. Which family does Tywin Lannister belong to? C. Lannister. Who is Tywin Lannister's eldest son? A. Jaime. Where is Tywin Lannister's seat of power? C. Casterly Rock. Who killed Tywin Lannister? B. Tyrion Lannister. Which actor played Tywin Lannister in the Game of Thrones TV series? C. Charles Dance. What is Tywin Lannister's sigil? B. A lion. Who is Tywin Lannister's father? A. Tytos Lannister. Which event leads to Tywin Lannister becoming Hand of the King? B. War of the Five Kings. What is Tywin Lannister's motto? A. Hear me roar. Can you weather the storm like Theon Greyjoy? Dive into the tides of memory and test how much you really know about the Prince of Pike. Iron Price or Trivia Pride, your call. What is Theon Greyjoy's father's name? B. Balon. Which house does Theon Greyjoy belong to? C. Greyjoy. Who does Theon Greyjoy initially pledge allegiance to in the show? C. Robb Stark. What is the nickname given to Theon Greyjoy by his fellow Ironborn? B. Reek. What is the name of Theon Greyjoy's sister? B. Yara. Who captures Theon Greyjoy and holds him prisoner for a long period of time? A. Ramsay Bolton. What is the name of the castle that Theon Greyjoy grew up in? C. Pike. What does Theon Greyjoy ultimately do to try and prove his loyalty to his father? C. Sees Winterfell. Who saves Theon Greyjoy from Ramsay Bolton's torture and captivity? C. Sansa Stark. What is the fate of Theon Greyjoy at the end of the series? C. Redeems himself and helps defeat the Night King. Are you as loyal as Robb Stark's bannerman? Step into the boots of the king in the north and see if you can survive this Stark-themed showdown. No red weddings allowed, just red-hot trivia. What is Robb Stark's title in Game of Thrones? A. King in the North. Who is Robb Stark's mother in Game of Thrones? A. Catelyn Stark. What is the name of Robb Stark's direwolf in Game of Thrones? C. Grey Wind. Who does Robb Stark marry in Game of Thrones? C. Talisa Megger. What event leads to Robb Stark declaring himself king in the North? C. Ned Stark's execution. How does Robb Stark die in Game of Thrones? C. Betrayed and murdered. Which house does Robb Stark's family belong to? A. Stark. Who is Robb Stark's best friend in Game of Thrones? A. Theon Greyjoy. Where is Robb Stark killed in Game of Thrones? A. The Twins. Who is Robb Stark's trusted advisor in Game of Thrones? B. Catelyn Stark. Can you see the truth like Bran Stark? Step into the weirwood and test your third eye with this Bran-tastic trivia. No flying lessons required, just sharp memory. What is the name of Bran Stark's direwolf? C. Summer. Who pushed Bran Stark from the tower in the first episode of Game of Thrones? B. Jaime Lannister. What is the name of the ability that Bran Stark develops throughout the series? B. Green Sight. Who becomes Bran Stark's loyal companion and protector on his journey beyond the Wall? C. Hodor. Which house does Bran Stark belong to? A. Stark. What title is Bran Stark crowned with at the end of Game of Thrones? B. King of the Andals and the First Men. Who is Bran Stark's father? A. Ned Stark. What happens to Bran Stark's legs that leaves him unable to walk? A. He falls from a tower. Who helps Bran Stark escape from Winterfell after Theon Greyjoy takes over? C. Osha. What is the name of the three-eyed raven who guides Bran Stark? A. Blood Raven. Do you know Ned Stark like a true Northerner? Test your honor, loyalty, and memory in this Stark-filled trivia. Winter is coming, and so are the questions. What is Eddard Stark's title in Winterfell? A. Lord. How many children does Eddard Stark have? B. 5. Who is Eddard Stark's wife? A. Catelyn. What is the sigil of House Stark? B. Wolf. What is the famous saying of House Stark? C. Winter is coming. Who is Eddard Stark's best friend? A. Robert Baratheon. Where does Eddard Stark travel to at the beginning of Game of Thrones? A. King's Landing. Who raised Eddard Stark as a foster child? B. Jon Arryn. What weapon does Eddard Stark prefer to use in combat? A. Sword. How does Eddard Stark meet his end? A. Beheaded. Can you out-scheme Littlefinger? He climbed the ladder of chaos. Now climb the ladder of trivia. Choose wisely. Pater's always watching. What is Pater Baelish's nickname? A. Littlefinger. Which house does Pater Baelish belong to? C. Baelish. Who was Pater Baelish's childhood crush? B. Catelyn Stark. What title did Peter Baelish hold in King's Landing? A. Master of Coin. Who did Peter Baelish betray to achieve more power? A. Ned Stark. What is Peter Baelish's ultimate goal? C. Chaos is a ladder. Who killed Peter Baelish? C. Arya Stark. Which actress portrays Peter Baelish in the TV series? A. Aidan Gillen. What is Peter Baelish's sigil? A. Mockingbird. What is Peter Baelish's fate in the end of Game of Thrones? B. Executed. How well do you know Joffrey Baratheon? Cruel, spoiled, and oh so punchable? But how much do you actually remember about him? Who is Joffrey Baratheon's mother? A. Cersei Lannister. Which house does Joffrey Baratheon belong to? A. Baratheon. Who is Joffrey Baratheon's biological father? B. Jaime Lannister. How did Joffrey Baratheon die? A. Poisoned at his wedding. Who was Joffrey Baratheon engaged to before his death? B. Marguerite Tyrell. Which actress portrayed Joffrey Baratheon in the TV series Game of Thrones? A. Jack Gleeson. Where was Joffrey Baratheon crowned as king? A. King's Landing. What is Joffrey Baratheon's relationship to Robert Baratheon? A. Son. Who is Joffrey's younger brother in the show? A. Tommen Baratheon. Which character killed Joffrey Baratheon's direwolf early in the series? C. Cersei Lannister's score. And that's a wrap on our 30-minute Game of Thrones trivia round. If you made it this far, You're worthy of sitting on the Iron Throne, or at least enjoying a good feast in Winterfell. Tell us in the comments, how many questions did you get right? Were you a master of schemes like Tyrion, or do you need a few lessons with Samwell at the Citadel? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because we'll be back soon with more trivia, fun facts, and challenges about your favorite characters from movies and series. Valar Morghulis, and we'll see you in the next challenge. Catch you next time, champions of knowledge.